Hey ladies and gentlemen, my name is Bendancer and I'm live on Simple TV. Growing up as a young child, I had great passion for dance. And initially I wasn't even called Bendancer. Yeah, I was called Don Ben. A Don with a Ben, yeah. So growing up in a humble family in the north, I had amazing parents who were rooted in the Christendom. So growing up as a young child, my father always wanted me to be a responsible man in the society. So he wanted me to be either a doctor or a lawyer. So, but because I had great passion for dance, I told my dad I wanted to be a dancer. And that really didn't sounded well with him. So he said, if I was not going to be either a doctor or a lawyer, he was not going to even, further sponsor my education. And that really brought a gap between me and my family. But along the line, I found solace in dance. Dance became the only thing I had to run to. Dance gave me peace. I found satisfaction in dance. And then in that moment, that was when I decided that, okay, if my father says dancers are wayward people, or dancers are people who are not really seen as responsible people in the society, I was going to do the right thing, and I was going to take dance seriously and prove him wrong. So this was Benjamin Daniel before Bendancer. Yes, so for every time, what sparked that fire in me was for every time I dance and I see people being inspired. Dance was not just entertainment for me. Dance was a spiritual exercise. It was the very essence of my expression. And whenever I do that, I see people filled with joy. It brings the very existence of rhythm. So I do it with so much passion that if you see me dance, you are so going to love it and desire to learn how to dance. So for me, that moment where it sparked that fire was for every time I see that whenever I dance, people are happy, people forget their sorrows, people are also inspired to also create other ideas, So for me, that was that moment. So for a moment, at the beginning, it was a very hard one because at some point, my style of dance was very difficult to understand because of the demography and the location I was. So before now, the social growth or the social life of the North is nothing compared to what it is today. So back then, it wasn't really something that was really accepted. People were wondering, what type of dance is this? Because they know the break dance, they know the likes of the Michael Jackson and all of that, but they are seeing someone who is doing something way more different. And for them, it's like, what's this guy doing? So it took me a lot, but I stayed consistent. I never allow what they were saying get to me. But looking back at what I have become today, I think it's a great inspiration for a lot of young voices, even in the dance industry, not just from the North, not just in Nigeria, but globally. To be very honest with you, it was a very difficult one because in this era, you could Google, the names of the dancers, the style of the dances, their origin, and who were the sole pioneers of those dance and who were the creators of those dance. Back in the days, it was a very hard nut to crack. So my father was quite well-to-do when I was much more younger. So we had access to the television, the cassettes, which was back in the days. So sometimes I get to watch the likes of Awilo Logomba, the likes of Fela performing, the likes of Michael Jackson and so forth. And that was the only access I had. So what I did was, while I watch what they do, I tend to create my own ideas in my head. Though sometimes I didn't even know what I was doing, but because of the passion I have and the inspiration behind the passion, I believe that I could change the world with this dance. I kept pushing. So it was a very difficult part for me starting, but along the line, I was able to find my path, because for me, dance is all about authenticity. As a creative, you must have one thing that defines you. And for me, I found my niche and I held on to it. To be very honest, each and every one of them played a very vital role. So in terms of activism, in terms of originality, Fela did, because for me, I've always wanted to use my dance as a tool for change. That was what my drive was, for me to change the narrative, for me to be a leader in my own field. So looking at the life of Fela and his daring spirit, it really pushed me to see that I can do anything if I set my mind on to do. And then in terms of the dance aspect, looking at Michael Jackson and how great he has become just by being a dancer really inspired me to see I can take the world. I can face the world and everything it comes with. So differently, these artists have influenced me. Character, the way I talk, the way I dress, it has also influenced my choices in the dances and the choice of music I dance to. So that's what I can say as regard to that. Yes, I remember that very moment very clearly. So before I even started professionally, when I started young, whenever I am being invited to either a birthday party or a school graduation, they get to spray me money. For me, as a young child, I didn't know what it meant. So sometimes I was just excited. But along the line, when I advanced in age, and I realized that, okay, I have to take care of myself, because like I earlier said, it was a difficult thing having to, push through my education, because my father wasn't really happy because of my choice of career. I had to realize that, see, I'm now by myself. Now it means I have to sponsor myself to school, because I can't be a dropout. I have to sponsor myself to school, and I also have to take care of my bills. I have to wear clothes. Whenever I go for rehearsals, by the time I come back, I'm hungry. So where do I run to? And I've taken this career, I've chosen this career path. So that is supposed to pay my bills. So at that moment, it became dawn on me that, see, this can be a profession. It depends on how I brand it, and it depends on how I package it. For everything you're selling, there's a market for it. It only depends on how you position yourself to sell that market to the right audience. So basically, I started dancing professionally at the age of 15. At the age of 15. So for me, after conquering the North, because not just Gombe, I've influenced a lot of dance movement across the northern demography. Places like Kano, places like Gombe, Bauchi, Maiduguri, Yola, Taraba, Jos, Abuja. Then having conquered these cities, I felt there's a need for me to now move to Lagos and then, create an impact, because it's always about positioning yourself for bigger things. So whatever it is that you're doing, you desire to grow in that area. So after being in those northern areas that I just mentioned, and I discovered that I've been able to influence a change there, I felt I needed to learn more and I needed to be heard globally. And the Lagos, being the center of commerce, has really played a very vital role in terms of entertainment, where they create platforms where creatives can find expression. So, but when I came into Lagos, it was a very tough one for me because I had no platform of my own self. I wasn't really known here. So it was a difficult task for me to be able to bring out my crafts and then, project it out there. So yes, it was a leap of faith. And fast forward to where I am today, I'm grateful for the journey and the decisions I've made so far. Meeting Made was really a life-changing experience for me. So what happened was, I was schooling in Benin Republic. And at a point in time, I was really, really down financially. So I needed to come into Lagos to, work on a couple of jobs, then make some money and go back to school. So there was a time, so in that moment, I was really down. I was really, really down, depressed. So there was a time, a friend of mine by name Obina, he stays right very close to the shrine. And I was staying with Obina at that moment, as of the time I came back from school. So while in Obina's house, very close to the shrine, I had someone playing a particular sax, a particular note. And that note wasn't just an ordinary note. For me, it was very spiritual because that music, that note he was playing, the sax, it met me at the very lowest point of my life at that moment. And when I heard it, I asked Obina, I said, who is playing that? He said, it's from the shrine. I said, okay, can we go to the shrine? From where I think that was my first time going to the shrine. I said, can we go to that very place where the sound is coming from? And then that was when we entered, and he moved forward to introduce me to Made. And that was the first time I ever saw Made in my life, to be very honest. And then I approached Made and I greeted him. I said, good evening, sir, how are you? Because it was in the evening. And I said, sir, I heard you play a very, very, very deep and spiritual note. And I really, really resonate with it. Because at that moment of my life, I think I needed that. I was really depressed. So the next thing Made said was, are you a professional dancer? I said, yes, I'm a dance artist. And the next thing he said was, okay, come to the shrine on Wednesday, which is the normal times we rehearse at the shrine. And when we came, rehearsals proceeded. I was listening to the music. And as a professional dancer, I could really build up choreography, like I could create moves and, choreograph the music right at that moment. And then the next thing he said was, okay, can you come to so date on Sunday and we have a show? And I remember I was the only dancer because I was the first dancer to be on the stage in his band on a show. There were no ladies then. So I danced the whole choreography, the whole songs of over 2 hours on stage alone. And everybody was like, are you not tired? How do you keep up with this energy? Do you drink? Do you smoke? I said, no, I am just naturally inspired. So the next time, after we were done with that show, I left. So a couple of days, I wrote him and I said, sir, thank you for the singular honor you gave me to, share the stage with you. And he said, okay. I think that moment he requested for my account number. And for a man who was broke, he sent me, I will never forget that very amount he sent. He sent me 16,000 naira. I was very excited. I went, got some few things, I was just happy. And then, but what I felt, the joy I felt was not the money he gave me. The joy I felt was the honor he gave me to find expression in his music, for me to be able to express myself with his music. So, and I told him, sir, I really want to tell you something. And he said, okay, come to the shrine on Sunday. So the next coming Sunday, I came and we were seated one-on-one with him. And I looked at him and I said, the very first day after dancing with you, my spirit really resonates with your music. Would you allow me to be part of your band? And he said, and I quote, I've also liked the way you dance, and I will also be glad to have you on my band. And from that moment onwards, I became part of Made Kuti and the movement. For us generally in life, starting something new is always really not smooth. So for a moment, people were asking, a male dancer in the shrine, can he really do it? You know, there was a lot of doubt. And I remember a couple of people saying, this Ben cannot do it. But one thing I remember Made said, he is my dancer. Allow him, I employed him, right? So it was a difficult one because people felt I couldn't shake Bom Bom, because the whole expression of Afrobeat, you know, generally ladies, when they are dancing, they use their waists, you know. So they were like, this person cannot be able to do this. It took me a moment, a longer time, and I said, see, this thing, I can do it. And I started working on myself. Day and night, there was never a time I rest. Till date, as I speak to you, if I'm not on stage, I am in the gym. If I'm not in the gym, I'm at the dance floor, rehearsing every moment. I made sure that I embodied the music, I embodied dance, that even me talking, when you see me passionately talking about dance, you know that this person knows his onions. I've done a proper background research about this, and I'm so passionate about it. So being the first male dance artist in the history of the Kutis, for me, is an honor. It's a great honor, because this is a path that a lot of legends have gone down. And I am so glad that I was given a platform to contribute to this great journey of Afrobeat, this great sound that has, has gone global and is globally accepted. Playing that role, being the first male dance artist in the history of the Kutis and being part of Made Kuti and the movement, it's something I don't take for granted. And I will do it with so much integrity, honesty, and honor till the day I stop dancing. Okay, thank you very much. Going back, I would like to address this question by saying this, right? If you look at the journey of Fela himself, what made it a lot easier was having a band, by his side. And so for every Afrobeat musician who is a professional in his field, he has different instrumentalists. And then their contributions are not just how they play it, but how passionately they play it. My own very contribution to this entire journey is how I am able to stay consistent and authentic to this very, very God-given purpose in my life. Looking at the people who have inspired this journey, the likes of Nelson Mandela, the likes of Sankara, the likes of Nkrumah, the likes of Fela, and the greats Fumilayo, Ransom Kuti. I am glad that from the paths and the foundations they have laid, it is way more easier for us to also carry this light and also project it to the world. So my very, very, in the very most little way that I find myself on stage, for every time, I do not just dance for dancing's sake. I dance because I know that I am contributing greatly to this great journey that these great heroes have started. So for me, it's a great thing of honor to be on that part, and I do it so passionately and fearlessly, because for you to be an activist, you must be fearless. You will speak the truth. Sometimes it might not sound right. Sometimes it might not be accepted, but what matters is the truth. And the truth is ultimate. It never dies. So it is a great honor that I'm on this part, and I will keep doing it with the very breath in me. So you see, being the first male dance artist in the history of the Kutis, it goes down to the niche I've been able to carve for myself. So as a dance artist, because in the band, we also have a dance choreographer. So the dance choreographer is a female artist. I am the dance artist. So what I do is, I do more of the storytelling. So I am being able to blend both with the females and the male, just, playing my own role. And then sometimes I do the storytelling, and then most times we are choreographing together. So because I am a professional in my field, I've been able to know when to be able to align with their dance, for us to come together, create something more unique. So having myself doing my own dance separately, and having the ladies doing their own thing separately. And at the end of the day, we also come together collectively as a band to create a perfect synergy. So for me as a dance artist, it sometimes can be challenging, because you have to create something that is very authentic. You have to create something that is original, because Afrobeat is all about originality. So it's sometimes a little bit difficult, but with the help of God and the inspirations from the Holy Spirit, it helps guide my thoughts and my thought process, and help shaping, what I've become today. So, to be very honest, right, because it's storytelling, you have a picture of a world in your head. Because most of the time when I dance, I close my eyes. And there are moments when I dance and I cry, because some music, some sound speak to me very deep. A man with so many scars. So for me, I cannot really say a particular moment, but for every dance I do, I put my life into it, like it's the last thing I have to do on earth. So there's never a defining moment, I would say, but one of the most historic performance that I did, that I felt it was really, really deep to a larger audience, was my performance with Made Kuti and the movement in Paris, 2022, at Philharmonie de Paris, at Fela's exhibition. It was a moment for me where, when you are growing as a young man, and then you've been aspiring to go, global. And then I was right in Philharmonie, dancing to dignitaries that I would have never thought I would ever meet in my life. Trust me, it was a defining moment for me. For me, not just dancing to, a certain crowd, but a people of different race. Because when we went for the exposition, Fela's exposition in Paris, we had different people from different parts of the world, from different continents of the world coming. So that moment having that performance was a great moment for me, which I'm forever grateful for. One message I want the world or the audience to take from my performance is this. For every time you see me dance, that is the creating power of God. Because sitting down to create something from nothing is really, it's something that sometimes my mind cannot fathom. Sometimes some of the moves I create, I don't even know how I create them. Sometimes on stage, when I'm dancing, I wish I could leave my very mortal body and watch myself, my own very self dancing and feel what people feel. Because I want people to feel alive when they see me dance. I want people to feel their sorrows taken away. I want to get to a point where I can dance and the cripple can walk. I want to get to a point where I can dance and even a dead man will want to rise and see a man like Bendancer dancing. I want to live my life knowing that I've changed the world positively with my dance. My first performance at Celebration. The first day I performed at Celebration was really because the audience at Celebration, Made will say, if you can please the audience at Celebration, you can please any crowd in the world. It is one crowd that if you're not good, they don't care your status, they will yell at you, they can throw something at you and just tell you to get off the stage. But when they like you, they are very real. So my first performance at Celebration was really an amazing one for me. And then secondly, my performance at the Fela exposition at Philharmonie de Paris. Yes, my career has really changed my personal life and how I see myself. Because before now, I was dancing for the money and all of that. But eventually, after finding my niche, and then my years and experience in the industry, I have become a role model to many people. I've become an icon to a lot of people across the globe. So it has helped change the way I see myself, the way I carry myself, the way I talk. Because I realize that whatever I say has great influence in the life of other people. So I was someone that was quite a little bit temperamental. And when I lose my temper, I say things I'm not supposed to say. And I do things I'm not supposed to do. So what do? I started working on my temper. And one song that helped me also work on this was No More Wars by Made Kuti. And then for every time I listen to the song, because he's also someone that had issue with his temperament, and then he worked on it, and that's how he was able to produce that song. So for me, how my success story or my journey has changed my personality as a person is that it has changed how I see myself, how people see me, how people perceive me, and the kind of legacy I want to leave behind when I'm gone. Not just as a dance artist or a choreographer, but as a human being who has walked the earth. There are great people that I dream of working with. First, I see Chris Brown as a great performer. Most of the time, he doesn't even just dance because of the money, because looking at the achievement yes, and the things he's achieved so far, it's someone that will say, oh, I wouldn't, still be dancing because come on, I've created a lot of world record. But, he still do it so passionately. I look at Kudus. Kudus is one person who I hold dear to high esteem. Looking forward to working with Kafi on a project because she's one person that has lived a life that is worthy of emulation. So many more that I cannot remember right now, but I wish to work with every artist who put their soul and their spirit, put a lot of life into what they do. So, growing up, I was dancing for passion, but now I dance professionally to pay the bills. So, major things that I want dancers to pick from the Bendancer Academy International, it's this. We need to prepare the dancers, the new generation dancers for what is ahead, right? First, they need to understand that trend doesn't sell, but authenticity does. Because you are looking forward to not just a dance people can just watch and forget about it. You're looking to create a dance that even in the nearer generations, they can look back and want to emulate what you do. And then secondly, we have to teach them the business aspect of dance, because it's one thing to understand the craft. It's another thing to understand the business aspect of the craft. So what Bendancer Academy does is it prepares you for not just the crafts, beyond the floor. How can I negotiate contracts? How can I prepare a production? Because those are the major things that we look at. For us here back in Nigeria, is so much painful that we don't have a functioning dance industry where we have not just dancers, we have dance videographers, we have dance photographers, we have dance costumiers, we have dance script writers. You get what I mean? So, and they play a very vital role, in the journey of these dancers. So what Bendancer Academy does prepare you for is this. It gives you the right education on how to brand yourself and how to position yourself so that global brands can see you and work with you and know that, okay, you know your job. You're not just doing it for the passion, you're doing it professionally. We teach you we teach you the research, the different types of dance, their origins, how they originated, who were the curators of these dances, how far these dances have gone in terms of impacting the cultural impact globally. So that's what the Bendancer Academy does. Okay, that's a quick one. So if I am not dancing, honestly, I'm in the gym. But another thing, again, I think I've never said that people don't know about me is I love to cook. So when I'm in the house, I could just think of something and then cook and eat, because for me I have to stay healthy. I'm a high promoter of healthy living, because as I've been a dancer, I'm also a fitness instructor. So most of the times I watch what I eat. I don't mostly like eating out, so I tend to cook what I eat and I make sure that it's healthy. Yo, I didn't see that coming. I didn't see that coming. Ooh. Okay. If I was to choose a song to dance to, it would be Story by Made Kuti featuring Kuti. And my reasons is this. When you listen to the lyrics of the song, it transcends beyond now. He said, I think the first lyrics of the song says, with great power comes great responsibility. Are you better than the people that you judge? Are you better than the people corrupt? So in that moment, spiritually, you are understanding your powers. Physically, you are being conscious because most of the musics are conscious music. So it reminds you of, will you be honest? Will you be, if you're in the place of power? Because I believe that we're going to grow beyond now. So if I become greater, will I also think of my people? If I've been placed in a place of leadership, can I think of my people? Whether a spiritual leader, whether a political leader, or in an organization, will I think of my people? Because these are the leadership qualities. And it also reflects my decisions as a person. So I think I would go for story. Okay, the advice I would give to anyone who wants to go into professional dance is this. Be authentic. Most of the dance we're doing today, most especially like the TikTok dances and all of that, is a trend. And one thing about trends is it comes and it goes. But once you're authentic and you're original, you forever remain very, very valid. There's a lot of value. So in the music industry, we say create songs that has a replay value. You get what I mean? There are songs that have been sung today that, trust me, you wouldn't even remember them. But when you hear the likes of CBB, all right, by Fela, if by the time you hear Water, No Get Enemy by Fela, it can resonate with every generation. Why? Because it has a replay value. It is real. It is authentic. You get what I mean? So as a dance artist, be authentic, be original. You can't fade out. Because even after you're gone, your dances, people are going to make reference to, your previous work, even after you're gone. Good. So you see, in the course of the interview earlier, I mentioned that the purpose of Bendancer Academy is to help dancers make proper research, prepare them for an industry, right? So in the next, not even in the next 10 years, let's say 5 years, because dance is getting a proper global acceptance. And with the acceptance it is getting, trust me, it's going to do amazing. So my own contribution is this, to making sure that we are also not just training dancers, right? Even non-professional dancers, because the photographers can find their place in the dance industry. Because when you go on social media, websites, and Google, when you make certain research, you will see certain pictures that were taken. Most of them were by dance photographers. So we're not just working to create dancers on stage. We're also working to create dancers behind the stage. Because most of the time, this interview I'm having, it was curated by a lot of people behind the stage. Now, people don't see them. So it is also the same thing in the dance industry. We want to create an industry where dancers could be seen with great value. The same way a doctor will walk into an office and he'll be regarded with high esteem, a dancer should walk into a room and there should be a great applause for his great work that he puts every day into his craft. So dancers to be professional in terms of, speaking about their crafts. Dancers to train themselves on how to create value in the society, not just entertainment-wise, but morally-wise, spiritually-wise, financially-wise, and otherwise. Hello guys! You already know what time it is. It's your favorite celebrity dancer in the building, and I'm here to tell you, keep watching, don't touch that dial. Simple TV. Peace out. We'll take it again. We're going again, right? I'm ready when you're ready. Hey guys, you already know what time it is. It's your favorite celebrity dancer in the building, Bendancer. Keep watching. Don't touch that dial. Simple Life TV. What the guy? What the guy? It's Simple TV. It's Simple TV. Okay. Oh, okay. So presently, I'm working on new projects for attempting to break the record of the longest dance marathon by an individual. I think the previous record was broken by a young lady in 2016 uh, for 127 seconds hours. Sorry, but I am breaking the new record for 160 hours, which is 7 days. So yeah, we're gonna. The whole idea behind this record is to help foster the African spirits. Africans are daring, and then to also let every dancer know out there your voice needs to be heard. Don't stop believing in yourself. Don't let anyone put you down. Just keep believing, and you can do great things from small places. Yeah. When you were curating the questions, you didn't know it's gonna be Like I said, when I went through the the questionnaire, trust me, he is one journalist that has curated. I've done an interview across the globe in different countries, but yo, no one has been able to articulate these questions like this, like being. And he never asked me nothing. So I'm shocked. No, you guys did. Oh, really? Okay. Okay.